from Daytona Beach, Florida, and the Daytona 500. Western Auto presents the Pat Patterson Race Week Specials.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the beautiful Stock Exchange here in Ormond Beach as we get ready for this weekend's Daytona 500. Lots of racing action comes your way from the World Center of Speed as we get ready for the 125 qualifying races on Thursday. Of course, the IROCs are going to be running on Friday out at the track. The Daytona Dash Cars, Goodies Dash Cars rather, will be on the track on Friday as well. And, hey, they ran for the pole in the Grand National Division today, and Michael Waltrip with a great lap. He got the pole, and Dale Jarrett is on the outside of row number 1. So that's all set for the big race, of course, coming up on Saturday. I'd like to welcome all of you that are watching us around the country and the folks that are listening in on WNDB right here in Daytona Beach. We got a super show for you tonight. Joining me in just a few minutes, Steve Grissom is here with his crew chief, Buddy Parrott. Rusty Wallace will join us in a few minutes. Dennis Setzer is with us tonight. Kurt Shelvernine is here, and the defending champion of the Daytona 500, Sterling Marlin. So you stay right where you're at. We'll be back with our very first guest to the Stock Exchange in Ormond Beach right after this.
The Pat Patterson Race Week Specials, brought to you by Western Auto, the official auto parts and service store of NASCAR. By Action Performance, the only true Winston Cup diecast collectible. And by Rain-X Oil Energizer. It makes even the best oil better.
Welcome back to Norman Fink's beautiful Stock Exchange right here in Ormond Beach. I'm Pat Patterson. Glad you've joined us for our second of our Western Auto Race Week specials. We had a great show last night and last Friday night as well. We'll be with you throughout the week. How about a nice round of applause for my first two guests, Steve Grissom and Buddy Parrott. Thank you. Always a good crowd here, and these things are always fun to do. Daytona has a lot of fun stuff like this. It can wear on you if you're not running too well when you got to go do all of this, but you seem to have adjusted to it pretty well, Steve.
I tell you, it is. It's a lot of fun. It can get to be long days at the racetrack, as you say, if you're not running good or something. But, you know, to be able to get out at night and do things like this, it's a lot of fun.
Mr. Parrott, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, you've done it a little more than he has, but you also like getting out and seeing everybody and mixing it up with the fans a little bit.
Well, that's true. You're not saying I'm old, huh?
I didn't say that, no.
Okay.
I said just been doing it a while.
No, we feel real good down here. You know, a lot of times you come down and, you know, you set goals, and our goal was to, you know, post a time on the first day of qualifying to, you know, make sure we didn't have to go back and re-qualify and things like that, get the car ready to race. So, yeah, we're having a lot of fun.
Steve, everybody, I think, would agree that, you know, what happened in Saturday practice or qualifying was that's all history. I mean, whatever had happened for a couple laps out there, no matter what you did, you've got to get ready to run the 125s. How prepared are you since Saturday to be ready on Thursday?
I'll tell you, I think we're pretty close. As Buddy said, our whole goal coming down to Daytona was to get the Meineke Chevrolet qualified on Saturday, get a good time, good starting position for the 125 starting Sunday afternoon. We were out there drafting, and every time the track's been open for Winston Cup practice, we've been out there, and this Monte Carlo really seems to be doing great for us, and we're looking forward to Thursday.
You got some new duds here you're sporting, these new colors here. You got a new sponsor on the car. I know you're excited about that.
Yeah, we sure are. I tell you, at the end of '94, a lot of big things happened for Diamond Ridge Motorsports, and you know, first being Buddy joining us, that's a big help to the team, to me, and we're looking forward to that. And also, Meineke Mufflers joining us, and I guess the Monte Carlo, nobody really knew at the end of '94 how good the car was going to be, and all the testing, and now we've got to get out and draft with the car and stuff like that, and it's really going to be a big plus for us this year. So we're looking forward to a big 1995.
Boy, buddy, old Gary Nelson had some big old whopping fines to hand out to some folks down here. That was I don't know, would you consider that to be surprising, or did you anticipate that maybe some folks were going to get handed some fines? Were they going to look a little harder? Did you get any indication over the winter that these guys were going to look extra hard when they came down to Daytona this year?
Well, when we came to test, rather, there was some interesting people in the garage area looking over things, and NASCAR's hired some new watchdogs, so to speak, and they're pretty sharp, I think. But I really feel good about it. I think it's good for the sponsorship. It's good for the racing to keep a level playing field, and Nelson's doing a good job.
All right, now, having said that, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Now, if you find something yourself that's not in the rule book, doesn't say it on any page in there, you've ingeniously concocted something that gives you an advantage. Certainly you wouldn't be messing with it if it wasn't going to help you run faster, right? But didn't fool with the integrity of the race car. In other words, it wasn't a safety issue. Isn't it your job to try to find things to make you go faster?
Well, I think in the spirit of the competition, the thing is that NASCAR is trying to control the speed of these race cars, and they're trying to do it with restrictor plates, with spoilers, and things like that. And that one thing that happened, with the deck lid adjustment, that's working against what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep the cars within 180, 190, 95 miles an hour. So they got caught, and they had to pay dearly for it.
What do you think about it, Steve, from a driving standpoint? I mean, your guys scratch their head harder than the other guys standing beside you scratch their head, and they come up with something, and you can drive around the 3-car. Wouldn't that be nice? you know what I'm saying? No, I mean, if you had something like that, you'd use it, right?
Well, I tell you, it's kind of one of those deals. If you spend the same amount of time on just getting your car ready and set up and doing the things that you can do, if you spend that same amount of time as you do trying to come up with something that's not legal, chances are you're going to have a better race car when it comes time to race, just working on the car.
Buddy, you left a deal that was, she was doing good. The 2-car was going there and winning races and the whole bit, and you had to really do some soul searching to decide to do what you're doing. How hard was the soul searching?
Well, my old buddy's sitting back in the back room up there, and it was hard to leave him, but I had an opportunity to do something that I'm looking forward to, having a little ownership in the team, and looking at a 5-year plan that Judy and I can kind of lay down my tools and get on my boat and do other things, So it was tough. Roger Penske, that's a tough outfit, and Rusty Wallace is a great driver and won a lot of races, and I'm sure he's going to continue to win races. But I got me a young driver here. He got his yellow bumper off, and we're ready to go in '95 with this new Monte Carlo.
You've been around a lot of great drivers in your career, and you've seen a lot of things, different characteristics of different drivers. What do you see in this one that maybe stands out more than other things?
Well, I spotted for him in 1992, and I saw him be real smart in a race car, looking not put his nose where he didn't need to have it, but when it comes time to push the button, I think Steve Grissom's a man can do it.
Steve, you come to the racetrack now with a whole new encyclopedia of history and racing with Buddy Parrott. How does it make you feel? Do you feel any more confidence when you walk around knowing that he's dressed the same way you are and he's talking to you about what you've got to get done on and off the racetrack?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. With Buddy being there, it's kind of a deal that I'm looking at him as a coach. And it's just like last Friday we were standing up on top of the trailer watching different lines through the racetrack, through the corners, that kind of stuff, and talking about our cars. So without a doubt, Buddy's going to help the team and me as a driver.
How well is your car drafting with other Chevrolets?
Seems to be real good. It's extremely comfortable. Don't dance around or do anything that it shouldn't do. And the whole key now is make the right moves, the right decisions come Thursday, and try to get yourself in a position to have a good finish.
Buddy, can we continue to bring 50 or 55 cars to every race, or 50 cars, and send X amount of them home and still be successful at this big league stock car racing? Your opinion on that?
Well, I think the competition level, that's part of it. Having I know NASCAR is doing things they can do to keep the cars that's sponsored and in the race or that can race on Sunday. They made some new rules that they've taken the top 40 and the car owners and for provisional type deals, and also they're adding 2 more, which will give them 4 provisional starting places. So, they're doing things to try to get make sure the teams get to race, and we're going to work real hard. The thing is, we've got 1 tire brand this year, and a lot of times last year, I think because of softer compound and things like that, a lot of good teams are going home because they couldn't switch to the softer tire. This year, you'll see all the good teams be in the race.
Final question for you, Steve. As far as the year looks, and I ask this a lot of times to teams, I know you guys have talked about it. How are you going to gauge yourself here to Charlotte in terms of success? What do you feel like is going to be success for you guys?
Well, we've talked about it, as you say, and we've basically got several different goals. Right now is to get into the race and finish in the top 10 as many times as we possibly can, and by the time second half of the season rolls around, hopefully we can step that up to top 5s and kind of get ourselves in a position to win some races. And it's all in getting yourself in the right position.
It's great to see you both, as always. Buddy, good luck to you with the new endeavors. I know you guys are looking forward to getting at it on Thursday. Good luck in the 500 on Friday, Steve. Hope everything goes your way and get some good, solid top 10 finishes here in the first part of the season. Good to see you both. How about a nice round of applause for Steve Grissom, everybody, and Buddy Parrott. And we'll be back with more from Daytona right after this. Welcome back to Ormond Beach, everybody. I'm Pat Patterson. Glad you've joined us for our Western Auto Race Week special, night number 2. Getting ready for this weekend's Daytona 500. You just saw the qualifying that took place out at the racetrack today. That is for the Busch Grand National cars. Michael Waltrip, who will be with us sometime here in the next couple of nights, and Dale Jarrett, for that matter. Everybody saw that he's on the outside of the pole. Want to remind everybody, particularly if you're listening on WNDB Radio here in Daytona Beach, simulcasting with us, that Norm Fink, who owns the stock exchange, is now back down at Finky's, and he and Turner Broadcasting and the World Championship Wrestling Federation and Rockabilly's Killer Band have all teamed up down there, so you need to make sure that you get a chance to go down and see some great nightlife down at Finky's here in Daytona Beach, and he's good enough to allow us to hang around up here with him as well. How about a nice round of applause for the next man that sits next to me, Dennis Stetzer from the Busch Grand National Tour, qualified 13th today for Saturday's race, and like you just said a second ago, it's great to be qualified. Don't have to worry about second round. You can get busy working on the car and getting ready to race on Saturday.
It certainly is, Pat. You know, it's especially great for us. It's our first time with the new Fords. Alliance is back on the side of the car, full strong again. We're excited about getting to find out about the draft now.
What's the difference between last year and this year? I know last year was your first big year down here at the big speedway. What's different for you from a year gone by?
Well, you know, Ricky Pearson, he's kindly tutored me along, and hopefully I've gained a little knowledge from him. You know, David Pearson's sitting in our pits all day. We've been lucky enough to park beside Larry. So, you know, it's kind of to have a knowledge bank right there with all the Pearsons available right there. So it means a lot to me.
If you had to go back and grade yourself, let's look back before we look forward. Was 1994 a good year for you in terms of the things that you learned how to do?
It really was. You know, we won our couple short tracks right there, and we performed well on the speedways. We didn't have the finishes to show it, but you know, there again, that kind of goes back to the V6 program. You know, we've got those behind us now. You know, they were just getting so much out of those V6s. I think the V8s will make the durability come around. You know, Ford or Chevrolet, you know, it's going to be a good program for both deals.
Explain to people a little bit what this changeover is all about. For folks that aren't familiar with what's going on with Busch Grand National Racing, what is actually happening with the engine program?
The engine program on the Busch Grand National now has went to basically the same as a Winston Cup engine. We're limited to 9.5 to 1 compression, and also we're on the 390 carburetor. That's basically got us probably in the 200 horsepower short of the Winston Cup deal. They moved our weight up within 100 pounds of the Winston Cup, which should make the transition a little better for us when the time comes about.
So in other words, what you're saying is for a Busch guy now, it's going to be so similar to a Winston Cup car, and the change from weight transfer from one to the other will be a little bit easier, right?
That's what NASCAR's looking at now. It seems like maybe the transition's been a little harder for some people than they expected. So, if they can close this gap and get the engines and the cars closer together, it'll be better.
Everybody knows that you were a real star with the late model cars and a real threat to win anytime in a late model car. And of course, that's what kind of won you this ride when Robert Presley moved on to Winston Cup racing. Is it true that a guy can actually put together a late model program and from that step right up? Aren't you evidence of that fact?
Yes, it is. It's I guess I'm to say never quit situation right there. I never had the big time sponsor. I never had the bucks as far as family owned bucks or whatever to put into a deal, and we just kept plugging along right there. I had a lot of good people I'd met during the late model ranks and been in a lot of good rides all through North Carolina, South Carolina, and different people I'd met, and nobody ever tried to hold me back as far as getting in a better ride here and there, and everybody kept trying to push me and put my names in different places, so it really come out good.
But what would you tell a guy? I mean, a late model champion, say at a racetrack in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, or California, or Oregon for that matter, if he says, that's great, Dennis, I mean, I see where you're at, but what do I do? I mean, what would you tell the guy?
Just race hard every week, and never give up, and if you got that sponsor that's giving you $50 a week, and you win the race, treat him like he give you $10,000 that night. Just somebody will notice it and realize what you've done for that sponsor, and hopefully a bigger sponsor down the road will keep picking you right along, and hopefully it'll elevate into something very good.
Let's handicap the Busch Grand National field a little bit. Let's talk about the competition that you're going to face this year. Man, there is no shortage of good cars and good drivers that are out there. And on top of that, you run into the situations like you do here at Daytona, where you got a handful of Winston Cup guys that are running for the big money here with the Goodies 300 on Saturday.
That's exactly right. It's probably 22 races that the Winston Cup guys can come back and run with us this year, and that's always good for us. We have an opportunity to learn from these guys. They do a great job. But these Busch teams, they've advanced so much themselves right there. We've got the Ricky Pearsons and the Birdies and everything like that, and these crew chiefs, and it means so much. They can take a young driver and teach him and hopefully prepare him for another division one day.
Anything you guys did different over the winter in terms of philosophy changes, perhaps? Did you talk about, are we going to race for points this year? Are we going to race for wins? Or have we got a new compromise in trying to achieve both things? What did you talk about this winter that may be different from last year?
Well, I don't know. Our owner, he likes to have these talks, and my philosophy is go out to win every race, if you have a bad one, just try to fall back and go back at it. The points is definitely in our sights this year. I haven't taken on any other kinds of forms of racing, as truck racing or anything like that. We've been real focused as far as in the shop, getting the new Fords prepared. It's a new situation for us. We've taken on a new engine builder, Mike Agee, Horsepower Plus, doing a great job. We're just excited about the whole year.
We want to wish you a lot of success. And I know you got lots of appearances and things to get to tonight, but we wish you a great deal of success this week. Hope it's a good run for you on Saturday, and appreciate you spending some time with us.
Enjoyed it very much.
About a nice round of applause for Dennis Stetzer, everybody. Qualified 13th for Saturday's race. You stick around. We got plenty more from Daytona Beach. We'll be back with more of it right after this. Welcome back to the Big D, everybody. I'm Pat Patterson. We're in Daytona Beach, actually Ormond Beach, just up the street, and we're getting ready, of course, for this weekend's 500. Every year I watch this guy. He goes out and he runs as hard as he can. He wins a lot of races, and he's always a contender for the championship. He's done that once before, and I'm sure that he'd like to get that second one under his belt this year. And who knows, maybe they got the right combination to make it all happen. But at any rate, please welcome Rusty Wallace. True fact. You know, we've sat around here right before this Daytona 500 last few years and talked about it, and every year you get the same response. I'm going to go out and I'm going to win the championship this year. And I know every year you try to utilize everything from the past year to go after the championship. Learn anything new last year that's going to make a big difference this year?
I thought I learned a lot last year, to tell you the truth. There was a lot of non-believers when we switched from Pontiac to Ford, and then when we got doing that, we won so many races, a lot of us picked us to win the championship this year. So I'm going to try to make it happen. You know, I keep telling you every year, but I think we get close to the most. So I'm pretty happy with that.
I'm not so sure that you just wouldn't be utterly thrilled to death just to get this Speedway thing down. I mean, if we can get this Daytona-Talladega thing put to bed this year.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that. I mean, we're at Daytona right now. The car's handling great. It's running fast. It feels wonderful. I qualified better than I've ever qualified down here. You know, it's all systems go right now. Everything's super. So I would like to get Daytona behind me. I'd like to win the Daytona 500. I'd like to get a great finish, to say the least here. And we'll see what happens after that.
Let's go back to '94 for a second and talk about it. I've really watched you over the last few years, and the way you handle yourself on the microphone, the way you handle yourself with the media, and you've changed a lot. I mean, in the last 5 years, I mean, an awful lot. I was standing on the infield media center at Rockingham in the fall when you fell out of that race. Next to the last race of the year, okay? It was the day the points thing finally gave up the ghost and went away. And I saw you pull the car up there behind the truck in the garage area, which I knew it was done because you didn't pull into the garage. You pulled it over by the truck. And I said, you know, if I was Rusty Wallace, I just don't know what I would say when they all come swarming, and they all did. There must have been 50 of them standing there with microphones. You know, you kept your composure better than I think I can remember any one time, but that had to be killing you right then.
Yeah, well, it was killing me. I mean, I wanted to win, you know. I wanted to get it, and that was a last-ditch effort. I mean, Charlotte's what got me. I was looking really good, and I was running second at Charlotte. Bodine had his problem there late in the race, and looks like I was going to win the 500. And I had a camshaft pin shear off, and so I lost a ton of points, and they said, man, it's a do-or-die deal at Rockingham. And then I had the radiator problem. I haven't had any mechanical problems all year long. All of a sudden I get 4 in a row. And it killed me. It really did. And it got me out. And I said, well, hey, look, one thing about it, the pressure was over. The pressure, keep trying to get the championship, was done finally. I just went to the truck, popped open a beer, and drove on home. That was about it. With somebody driving me.
I agree. That's worth a round of applause, because I think that, again, I know how hard you fought, and to keep your game face on and your battle face on throughout the battle, and it was a good one last year. I know it was tough when you finally realized it was over with. Let's talk about your brothers for a second. You were talking about Kenny today. He gave you a little thrill in the rearview mirror. Is that right?
Yeah, we're cruising along there, and we had a pretty good draft going on. I'm up there in the front, 3 or 4 of us pulling the draft, and had a big field of cars behind us. And I looked in the mirror, and man, I saw smoke go everywhere, and I saw and Robin Pemberton got on the radio and goes, hey, Rusty, car spinning off of turn 2, shut it down, come on in. I said, okay. So I got cooled down. I came around. I said, who was it? And he said, it was your brother. I said, which one? He said, Kenny. And, oh, man, I guess he got the daylight scared out of him. But he saved it, didn't hit nothing, didn't scratch nothing, and they're over there working on it now, trying to get it handling better for him. But, you know, you're thinking, here's 60 cars out there running, you know, and one car loses it. Why's it got to be your brother, you know?
Yeah, and to have multiple choices, too, as to which
man,
one it
got
could
a couple
be, right?
choices, right.
You guys are very distinctively different. All, of course, the same family, but Kenny was on with us last night. I'm sure Mike will be here sometime this week. And are you guys talking more or less these days with all the business obligations that you all have?
Oh, no, we talk all the time. In fact, I talk to either Mike or Kenny probably every single night. Kenny will call, I'll call Kenny. Mike will call me, I'll call Mike back. We'll go back and forth. No, but I would say every other night at least, one of them's calling, or I'm calling them or something.
Always been that way?
It's been that way all the time with me and Kenny, and it's getting more and more like that with me and Mike, since Mike lives in Charlotte now. He's interested in airplanes like I am, so we're always on the telephone talking about airplanes, and not a whole lot about racing, to tell you the truth.
It must be a neat thing to have your family that close. A lot of families never see each other, and they're not even in the racing business. They could see each other, and they don't live in the same town. But for all you guys to be able to enjoy what you do for a living, that's got to be a great great, a lot of fun.
I love it. It's really cool right now. In fact, my mother and father retired last year, and they're building a new home on Lake Norman, and they're moving down. Their home's just about 3/4 of the way done. They'll be in it about another month. So then, after that's done, everybody's down here.
All right, enough of the family stuff. Let's go back to the racetrack. How surprised how surprised were you, I should say, at just how good them Chevys are?
Well, I'm not real surprised. They did a great job. They really did. They've worked real hard on building a race car, and they have achieved that, no doubt about it. They've built a hell of a car that's handling good and running fast, and it's really too early to comment on the stuff, to tell you the truth. I mean, we saw the Clash, but now let's get the rest of the field in there. I mean, I had my backup car out there running the Clash, and now this car's better. Right. Let's get the 125s done, then the 500, and then we'll start talking rules.
Yeah, and you say that, and I'm just curious. Not that we're going to predict the future, but let's just talk about it for a second. If a Chevrolet does happen to find its way to victory lane come Sunday, and the Chevys are as strong as they look right now, will people, this is a dumb question, Pat. Yeah, how loud will they cry on Monday, I guess is what I should say. Are people going to say, we got to change the Chevrolets because the Fords are at a disadvantage? I mean, is that what's going to happen?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there'll be some teams, but I'll tell you what, for NASCAR will be the people that make that decision. I mean, they want to see really super equal racing, and nobody's won the race yet. You know, we haven't even seen what happens.
Is 125 miles enough to find out what's going to happen?
I think the 125 miles will tell something. I really do, because there's enough mixed cars in there to see what's happening. So, I mean, obviously, I'm in this thing to race, man, and I want to, I'm going to beat the pants off the rest of those cats. So, if I'm getting my if I'm getting beat because of the equipment, I'll certainly talk about it.
Did all the fines Gary handed out send any signals to you guys, or were you worried about that at all? I mean, is it time? Have they been lackadaisical in checking cars over the last couple of years?
I don't
and
think
just decided to clamp down?
You got to remember that everybody in the world tries to come to Daytona. Everybody wants to perform good here. It's a first race. And a lot of them, they know if they don't qualify well, they're in trouble. And if they have a problem in the 125s, they're going home. And that's just the way it is. So a lot of them want to qualify well. They got new drivers, new team combinations, stuff like that. And so they try some pretty peculiar things. And some of the stunts I saw pulled this week, I can't believe they even had the nerve to try them, but because they're pretty obvious. They were going to get caught, and they got caught big time.
And apparently it sounds like finding these things is just a matter of making somebody mad enough to want to go tell on you is what it adds up to.
Well, hell, I told NASCAR today, I was talking to him, I said, man, don't kick them out for 12 weeks. Just take all that money, put it in a point fund. Man, we're making big bucks this way.
Yeah. Or take all that money that you're collecting this week, NASCAR, take all those cars that you're going to send home after the 125s, put them out there and let them race for it. Give them a consolation race for this deal for spending all the money that those guys spent to come down here.
They could do that, or just take all the point fund money for fines and just give it to charity. That'd be good too.
Yeah, that'd work too. Okay, final question for you. Do you guys come back at this thing this year with any different philosophy from the management side, you and Roger and Don and all the people involved?
Well, it's quite a bit different. As you know, that when Buddy Parrott was my crew chief, we won a lot of races, and he brought a lot of stability to the race team. Calmed us all down, had a bunch of young guys running wild over there. We got us all calmed down and got us pulling in one direction. And we started winning some races. And then the place kind of really started going, and we started winning more yet. But I think what's different now is that when Robin came on board with us, he brought a lot of technical things, a lot of aerodynamic knowledge, a lot of shock knowledge, a lot of race preparation knowledge, a lot of mechanical things. It was totally different than what Buddy brought.
Right.
And now everybody's got the respect on the team. They know what their job is. They know what they're supposed to do. They're winners. They won races. And now we're into the technical things, the aerodynamics, the chassis combinations, shock absorbers, and Robin's just brought a ton of stuff on board that's going to help us on that.
Well, go get them. I hope it's good for you on Thursday. I hope it's a good, safe race, first of all, but I hope it turns out the way you want it, and we'll watch it on Sunday and see how it goes.
Well, at the end of 500 miles, if I'm out there, I'll probably be pretty damn happy compared to
I just finishing one would be good. How about a nice round of applause for Rusty Wallace, everybody? We're not done. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Stock Exchange, everybody. I'm Pat Patterson. Glad you have joined us at home. Yes, we're glad you're taking some time to be with us tonight. And if you're listening locally here on WNDB Radio, we're glad you're doing that as well. Hey, listen, I want to tell you about an exciting new deal here that I'm real proud to be part of promoting, and that is the Pit Row Reports magazine. Now, this is a magazine that you subscribe to, and it's a really neat, well-done magazine. And you're taking a look at it. We got it up on the screen now. And I want to tell you that if you subscribe to the Pit Row Reports, you have a chance to play the Fantasy Motorsports game challenge that's a part of this magazine. And what it is, so that you understand it at home, is this. You're sitting at home, you're watching the long Winston Cup race. You got 10 or 12 drivers that you're scoring, okay, throughout this race. Well, you keep up with each race because depending on how those drivers finish each and every race, you could be eligible to win up to $50-some thousand in prizes, and you can change drivers throughout the season, the whole bit. It's an exciting new deal. We got it up there on the screen. Pit Row Reports and the Fantasy Motorsports Challenge. Neat deal. Neat deal. You have a good time. Hey, everybody, say hello to my buddy here, Kurt Shelverty. He's here, and he's driving a Busch Grand National car, and he's got a Big Johnson shirt on right there. You see that? He's got his Big Johnson shirt on, and Kurt is like excited to be down here in a regular Busch Grand National ride. In fact, you're in the ride this year that Hermie Sadler had last year, and that's a real good car.
Seems like a real good program. We got started with our effort for 95 really late. We've only been together in about a month here, maybe 6 weeks, and don't even hardly know all each other yet, all the crew guys and stuff. So it's kind of been a rush deal for us, and we're real happy that we qualified today in the first round, and that's kind of was a target for us, and hopefully we can get a little bit better from there.
Well, you're kind of calm and collective about the whole thing. I think you probably tickled to death. I mean, particularly as many times as you've come down to this place and had to struggle with cars and struggle with motors and the whole bit, I know that really is good to get in.
That's what we've been doing the whole 2 days here. We've been pretty slow, except we got a good lap in qualifying, and the engine ran well, and the guys really been busting their butt here for a couple of days. We've changed about everything you can change on the cars, and ended up with a decent combination for one lap.
I'm going to go back to what Dennis Stetzer and I were talking about earlier. There's a lot of changes going on in Busch Grand National right now with engines and so forth, and I guess you're a good person to ask, is the changes that are going on with the V8 motors and so forth going to be a better thing for the current crop of guys that are out there? And is it going to be a better place for people to learn how to drive Winston Cup cars? Is it going to be easier to make that transition, do you think?
Yeah, I think already it's a whole lot better. The Cup cars and the Busch cars had a pretty good gap between them in the past few years as far as weight and type of engine and horsepower and a lot of different things that were the transition really was tough. A lot of experience in Busch cars didn't necessarily mean you had very many credentials at all to do Winston Cup. So now NASCAR's working towards making the cars a lot closer together and in design and so forth, and yeah, it will be easier, and I like the new engines a lot better too. I think in the long run they'll last a little better than the other ones did, and therefore give us better races. There'll be more cars running at the end.
Was V6 a bad thing? I mean, was that something that maybe should have never gone down that path, or did we learn a lot from that that led us to where we're at? Did you have to do that to get back to where we're at?
I don't know. I guess you could debate that both ways. There's always been an ongoing effort to try to keep speeds to a minimum, and I think that was just one of those steps that they tried to keep the cars from getting faster and faster every week, and that one didn't work quite as well as some of the combinations we have now as far as plates and aerodynamics and things.
I'm starting to get used to you as a driver. I mean, it took me a while to figure out that you weren't still working over there with the 3 car, and I know it's still going to take the fans a while to get used to it. But are you starting to feel more like a driver?
Well, I don't know. I'm still a mechanic, and I do all the things that I used to do as far as working on the cars and trying to think up things that make the car handle better or run better. Now the only difference is I get to go see what we did, but it's going to take a while for me to be completely comfortable, I think, in a different role.
How much do you still communicate with the boys over at the 3 car?
Right much. My shop's just down the street from theirs in Welcome, so I see guys a lot of times at lunchtime and all that, and that's still a pretty neat bunch of people there. It's a whole lot bigger than it used to be.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, you're probably the right person to ask this question. How much bigger is it from the time that you started there to the time to what it is today?
From when I started there, I'd say we had about 3 people full-time and about 3 or 4 more part-timers that were there all the time.
They don't have a parking lot big enough for all the people that got to show up there and work now, do they?
Right, yeah. We've gone through, I guess, 2 shops since then, and I guess they probably have 50 or 60 people working now.
What's your focus on this week other than qualifying, which is what you got done today? What are you guys really going to work hard on getting ready for Saturday?
We have put such an effort into qualifying the past few days because we weren't all that fast. We had to do a lot of things that are just to try to get in a race. You know, now we got. I hope the weather stays good so we can get a lot of practice in as far as race setup because we have to change just about everything on the car back to a more raceable setup. You know.
All right, tell everybody what Big Johnson's all about here. These guys are an incredible T-shirt company, are they not? And how did you get hooked up with them?
Well, it's kind of by chance. They are a really big T-shirt company. They sell a lot of different types of clothes besides T-shirts, and some of the stuff's kind of humorous, and some of it's more gauged towards racing. Now they got a lot of racing apparel.
Right.
I forget exactly how we got lined up with them.
But nevertheless, glad they're there, right?
Oh yeah, I think it's really going to be a fun thing. It's new for them. They haven't been involved in racing before this year, and we want to try to introduce them to the sport with a little bit of pizzazz, I guess, and it kind of suits them. I think the sport does. The same fans that they have already anyway that buy their products, I think are a lot of those people in the crowd at the races, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I think we can have a good time at it.
Hope you and Don Beverly have a good, successful week this week, and I hope all the guys have a non-taxing week and everything goes well. Appreciate you spending some time with us.
All right, thanks.
Got a nice round of applause for Kurt Shelverdine, everybody. How does it feel to win the Daytona 500? We'll ask our next guest. He's the defending champion, Sterling Marlin, when we come back. Welcome back, everybody, to Norm Fink's beautiful stock exchange. Don't forget, Finky's is Norm's other club, downtown Daytona Beach there, and go by and say hello to Norm. Tomorrow night on the program, Terry Labonte will be here. Michael Waltrip will be here, who won the pole for the Saturday's Busch Grand National Race. Jeff Green, who is driving the 3-car, driving Dale Earnhardt's Busch car. He will be here. Hermie Sadler will be along, and Rick Mast. That's all tomorrow night. Make your plans to join us no matter where you're watching along our network lines. How does it feel to win the Daytona 500? The guy that sits beside me, he knows all about it. A nice round of applause for Sterling Marlin. Actually, probably felt pretty good when you looked at your bank account that next week, didn't it?
Yeah, it helped out a lot. I tell you, it really meant a lot to me. And, I'd always run good at Daytona, and I felt like that my first would come here. And when I got joined up with the Kodak team, I knew we'd be pretty good down here. And it kind of surprised me, but it didn't. But the boys done a real good job and had a good car and slipped in every one of the things.
How come you guys are always so good on the speedways? I mean, I keep throwing it back over to Runt Pittman, and I hate to swell his head up like that for building these motors, but it's the truth. You guys are always good on the speedways.
Well, they really take a lot of pride in their super speedway stuff and really massage the car. Runt and them boys just love restrictor plate stuff, fooling with it, and they take a lot of pride in that. And they've really done a good job this winter. After we got back from testing, they found a lot more power, so it's really showed up for us.
And I'm not picking on you now, but it seems like you guys for the last few years have come down here, done real well, won the 500 last year. Then where'd you go? And I mean that in a nice way. I mean, you were a factor in some races along the way, but you really had a tough year after getting the big win down here.
Well, we did. Went to Rockingham and led a good bit of the race and run second to Rusty, and me and him swapped the lead back and forth all day. And, we thought, hey, it's going to be a real good year for us, and was leading the points come out of Rockingham. Went to Richmond, qualified 6th, probably had a second place car, and we run 14th. We cut a tire down and lost a lap and never could get the lap back. So it kind of went like that all day long and all year long. And probably 80% of the races, I think we had a top 5 car and run off good. Run with Earnhardt most of the time. We'd break something or have a flat, and you had to spend time fixing the car. So that's what happened to us.
So it was, as you just said, it was just plain old tough luck last year.
Yeah, just plain racing luck. We lost about 6 motors. We broke stuff that was brand new, and he like drove running them crazy because something different would break, every other week, and it was one of them years. I think this year the boys have worked real hard, and the Monte Carlo is going to be good for us, and looking forward to getting this year going.
Yeah, it might have been a real good year to stick with Chevrolet, right?
Yeah, it looks like it so far.
Now everybody seems to be saying, well, hey, they were okay in qualifying and so forth, and it certainly looked pretty good to me in terms of the clash. Is it going to race as good as it looks?
I believe it is. We was real worried about it, qualifying good on the super speedways, and we fell off truck there at Talladega back in November and run decent, and we carried the old aluminum one with, and just to get a baseline, and that was a show car, and then they built the speedway car, and it one run good, and the car we got here for the 500's the car that we had on the truck last year, and never ran that car, and so it was about 2/10 quicker than the Busch Clash car, so we're real happy with it.
How about short tracks? Have you thought a lot about that over the wintertime, and have you done a lot of new things to get ready for the short tracks this year?
Well, not really. They're just building new cars, and the short tracks last year was real good at Wilkesboro in the spring. Probably had a second place car, and got run over on pit road, knocked the front end off, and just stuff like that happened to us. Martinsville qualified second, Rusty, and got spun out there and got in a wreck. Second race was running, I guess, third with 50 laps to go and pitted, had a flat. So our short track deal was pretty good. I thought we just the effort. I mean the deal wasn't there, but we run good. So if we just get rid of the bad luck, we'll be okay.
You more or less aggressive behind the wheel? Are you more or less aggressive behind the wheel these last couple years compared to maybe the Sterling Marlin of old?
Well, in Western Cup racing, you better be aggressive. Aggressive is what got you here, and you can't take no prisoners once that race starts, and if you do, you're gonna be getting lapped in 20 laps as fast as these guys run.
Hang around here. We're going to do a commercial, and we'll come back and get your final thoughts before we sign off. So stick around. We'll be back with more from the Stock Exchange with Sterling Marlin right after this. Back in Daytona, everybody. Glad you're with us. Glad you joined us tonight talking with Sterling Marlin, last year's winner of the Daytona 500. Well, same old thing. If you're not around on the last lap, you can't win that race, right?
Well, that's it. I tell you, it's you got to be there to win, and our car wasn't as good last year when we started the race, and we kept working on it, and from 100 lap on, we had the car pretty well where we wanted, and we was a 8th, 10th place car first race, but we got the car fixed. Tony and done a real good job getting the car handling, and that's what won the race for us.
It's one of these races that if you allow yourself mentally to get down in the first part of it because of something that's wrong with the car, you can really defeat yourself pretty quick, can't you?
Well, you can, because it's just so much you can do, working on them. But we'll come here July the 4th, and I think qualified 4th and led the race early, and we had an overheating problem, and we went to rear 3 times and come to the front, and we had to stop and cool it off again, and then we got spun out there 8 laps to go, and but you can come back from here and come back up the Daytona's a handling track, and if your car's working real good, it don't take you too long to get to the front.
Final question for you. I'll let you fill in the end of this sentence. If we're going to win a championship this year, we're going to have to do this better than we did last year.
Well, we'll just have to be a lot more consistent, and finish in the top 5. You can't have no problems. That's where Earnhardt beat you. He fell out of 2 races, and the rest of the time he finished in the top 5 in points, and Rusty won 8 races, he won 4, but Earnhardt wins a championship on consistency.
Can you guys win a championship this year? Do you feel like you can?
I think we can. I think the boys have really worked hard all winter and trying to get the program right, and if we just can run all day long and not have any problems, we're going to finish in the top 5 and win races.
Great to see you. Good luck in the 500 this year. Maybe you never know back-to-back, and we'll look forward to watching you run in the 125.
Okay, thanks, Pat.
All right, Sterling Marley. Coming up tomorrow night, Terry Labonte, Michael Waltrip will be here, Jeff Green, Hermie Sadler, and Rick Mast, and you, hopefully. So come back and spend some time with us. Thanks for a great crowd at the Stock Exchange. We'll see you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.